I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Kamen Riders. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. What's up, Toby?
Hello, Joshua.
Hello, hello. We are here to talk about Kamen Rider Geats, episode 34. 34.
That's a lot of comments that we wrote so far. For sure.
That is almost as high as my 3-year-old daughter can count. She showed me yesterday that she can count to 29. She only messed up a couple numbers in there, so it's pretty impressive.
I mean, it's probably the same thing I would do. So, I mean, all things considered, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. I didn't know she could count to 29. I certainly had nothing to do with it. which is really best case scenario, I think, when someone learns something, because then you get the benefit of someone knowing numbers without you having to do anything to teach it to them.
Very hands-off approach. I appreciate that and respect it.
All the rest of parenting is so incredibly tediously hands-on. It feels like a real win when I get to be hands-off about something. As I can still literally hear her crying in the background. It's because she doesn't want to go to sleep.
It's a party. She's ready. She's all excited about 34. She almost got there, and now
she heard about it.
Shut down, and
she was like, "Dad, it's the Desire Royale, Dad."
I can't go to bed yet.
I've got to tell Toby what I think about Buffa. That's absolutely what's happening. Toby, how's it going with you? Have you survived? Have you lived down eating a whole fish yet?
No, the legend goes on, and the only short addendum to add to this was I told my grandmother about it post trip, and as soon as I told her the words whole market fish or full fresh fish or whatever the hell words the
whole market
said,
fish, yep, whole market
she
fish.
gasped and said, "Oh no, you didn't," or basically the equivalent of that. And I was like, "God damn it!" My hearing aided 90-year-old grandmother, who probably barely heard the words I said, still busted on me.
And she knew. When's the last time she was at a restaurant like that? Decades ago, I'm sure. And even she knows whole fish means whole fish.
Yeah,
it's rough.
And then I remember that she told me months and months ago that when she was little, like child age, early teens, whatever, she used to go fishing with her uncle, and he taught her how to like gut and flay like a whole real fish and turn it into like fish for dinner on the grill.
Yeah.
So we probably should have brought her with as well to help me eat dinner.
You should have called her when you realized that you would order the whole fish. Graham,
what do I do?
I've got a whole fish coming here. I don't know. Am I gonna have to attack it? What's happening? What do I do next? Sort this out for me.
I'll be right there.
Yeah. Don't you worry, Toby. I'm on
Tom,
my way.
Tom, wait. I need 3 hours until she drives here, and she's not supposed to drive, so let's give her 4.
I almost asked who Tom was, but then I forgot he was our main character from the story. Yeah, no, it all flashed back to me. It came back very quickly, but
good old Tom.
Good old Tom. Tom, the hero to some, the villain to others. Tom's a complicated character. Yeah,
he probably has his own Super Sentai comment show, and he was probably like listening to this idiot customer I had the other day and told the opposite version of the story.
Yeah, somewhere out there, Tom has a podcast, and he is telling the reverse story for sure. This idiot ordered a whole fish, didn't even know what he was ordering, and then
didn't even know it was a
down
goddamn
on
fish.
I tried to like talk him out of it. I tried to tell him what kind of fish he was getting. He refused. And then he just wouldn't stop talking to me about this fish that he ate. So then I tried to talk to him about the sauce that was on it, and then he acted all weird about it.
And he was like, "What sauce? I don't know. There's flowers? What?"
This man spent market price on this fish too. That's great. It's good stuff. Toby, we've got some emails this week.
My favorite.
Let's jump into
they're served up. They're served up at market price for everybody.
Yeah,
dissect these bad boys.
The market price of emails is free, completely $0 for emails. Our first email comes in from Kieran. Kieran says, one little thing from the end of episode 32. So that was the kind of beginning of Buffa's world. Kieran says the ID cores in the scene where we see kind of the beginning of the Desire Royale. One of them is Punk Jacks.
Good.
So Kieran goes on to say basically like, not sure if like that's just like a, a little like, what am I trying to say?
Reminder, nudge,
Yeah, not sure if that
memorial.
is a teaser for something to come, or if that's more of a like Easter egg of a like. Remember Punk Jack? He was cool. But
His band just put out that song that we found.
that's true.
So maybe he's getting crazy with the rest of them.
Yeah, and
And
we'll
it's
talk
time,
about
and
that
it's time to
song.
return.
We'll talk about that song in the show that's associated with it in the next email as well.
Oh, okay.
But just to give you a little preview. But Kieran goes on to say the bodyguards did get named outside of the episode. So John, who is Tom Constantine, is Kamen Rider Garen, Garun. And Ben, so the other bodyguard, is Kamen Rider Lancer.
His name is way cooler.
It is way cooler. Ben's actor is a dancer, so he incorporated that into his henshin. And Tom, being the big Rider fan, based his on various early Heisei Riders. So yeah, his was like way the more classic, like heroic Rider pose for sure.
Stolen from people is what it sounds like.
No, inspired, heavily inspired.
He has a lawsuit coming his way from past Kamen Riders.
And Kieran reminds you, Toby, that they were revealed to be writers in episode 14, which was back in December. So Kieran says it's reasonable that you forgot. I didn't forget. I remembered. I just want to point out that it's like an iron trap up here, Toby.
Of useless things. I'm gonna say that Kieran's insult is extra unappreciated because of all people, he is the one that comments the most on my YouTube videos, and he has to correct me all the time and said, "Hey, did you forget? Hey, do you remember this? Hey, this is a callback to this." And I always say thank you, and I never know. And now he's mouthing off again.
I don't think he's mouthing off at all. I think he's saying this. He literally says it's reasonable that you forgot.
But did he type it sarcastically?
No, I think. Listen, I think that Kieran is a genuine person, and I think he means this genuinely.
I think you can be genuinely sarcastic, but I digress. Let's move on. Thank you, Kieran.
Kieran also says there was a cameo in episode 33 from the tycoon suit actor Atoku. We've talked about Atoku. We talked about him before. Atoku played the Beagle Rider, the dog rider. We see him like very briefly in episode 33 before he's just like struck down by Buffa. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, he actually got to be on camera, not in a suit, before he transformed. So that's kind of cool. Atoku
that's two paychecks. That's good work on his part.
That's true. Yeah, he's really earning that double take home. Atoku's Beagle Rider was named Kamen Rider Groovy, apparently.
That's fantastic. That's a good one.
So good. Yeah, there's a good shot here in the email too of the Beagle head, which I thought was very cool in the moment, but it passes by so quick that you don't get a really good look at it. But it's our little doggy boy.
Nice.
So thanks for the email, Kieran. Nice little tidbits there. And Shade writes in with some information as well. So this is kind of where we're talking about the couple of new shows that have been announced. But first up, Shade tells us about Buffa's new form. Of course, Buffa recently became kind of like crazy god with longer horns and with the cape and stuff. Apparently this form is called Buffa Musou Jamashin, which means unmatched / peerless Jama god. It's one of the special cases in terms of power-ups, basically, as Shade explains, because there's no like toy or item associated with it. Which I guess is kind of rare, usually only for kind of the non-main riders. But it's like when they want to give a rider a power-up, but there's no sort of toy that they had sort of in the production line. So they just kind of kit bash something together. So it was like, hey, we've got this cape, we'll put that on there. And like, I don't know, we'll tape these other pieces on. But it doesn't happen super often, but that's what happened, I guess, in this case.
Gotcha. But Shade, always a trove of information.
Indeed. Shade tells us that there's a 2-day live event, a stage event that had been happening called Golden Desire Night, which I guess is probably coinciding with Golden Week in Japan, which is like a big holiday week, I think, in Japan. So I'm guessing that those are related since they both have golden in the name.
Do people get off for Golden Week?
Yeah, so it's usually an interesting thing. It comes up because of TV shows and like anime and stuff. At least that's where I hear it. where a lot of people just take off and other people I think get off for the week. So it's like it's a big crazy week where like a big chunk of Japan is off work and they're all traveling and doing vacation stuff, and some of them are leaving the country for it and others are just going to do like vacation stuff within the country. But like I was just reading about the most recent episode of the Pokemon anime where like a bunch of the art style like looked a little different because all the regular artists were off on vacation for Golden Week. So it's kind of interesting because of that. But yeah, it'll come up in like Japanese RPGs and stuff too. Like I think Golden Week was in Persona 4 if I remember correctly. So
Nightmare
yeah.
games. Okay, so only bad things addresses it. I gotcha.
Wow, you don't like the Persona games?
I never even tried. They seem like too much to me.
Oh, they're so good. They're so
They're
good.
not. We're not getting. They're not. We can digress on this later. We're gonna put a pin on this.
All right.
We're gonna tabletop it.
I'm putting my pin, and then on the head of the pin, very small, I'm writing Persona 4 is one of the best games of all time, and then we're moving on. Anyway, Shade talks about Golden Desire Night. Basically, there's some announcements and stuff that have kind of happened around this Golden Desire Night. So first up, Shade sends off some pictures of basically the stage show and kind of what's happening. There's some really cool shots. Basically, Gene and Buffa have these like giant cannons that they're firing in the show that aren't from Kamen Rider, and I guess they're like retooled Sentai
Hmm.
cannons. So they just look completely out of place and completely insane, but very cool.
There's a picture I just found online now. If the people out there want to Google Golden Desire Night, of all the actors sitting together in almost like prom outfits.
Oh,
and
nice.
like throwing up pensions together. They look all dapper. KY looks possibly drunk. It's hard to tell.
That's one that Shade sent along here as well.
Perfect. It was on Twitter somewhere.
Shade also tells us that Team Giamato, which is in the live stage show here, that is Baroba and Buffa and Daiichi. They have a choreographed dance to their theme song for the show. I watched it, and it's full on idol dancing. It's amazing. Can you imagine those three characters doing like an idol or like boy band dance? And it's impressive. So the song is called Odds and Ends if you want to seek that out. And then finally, as I mentioned, we get to a couple of show announcements. So we've talked about it before. They have the TTFC, the kind of like Kamen Rider, the Toei Tokusatsu fan club, where they put out kind of exclusive shows. So they announced a couple Kamen Rider shows that are coming soon. And first is a return of Kamen Rider Punk Jack. So the show is called Kamen Rider Geats Extra Kamen Rider Punk Jack. And
So he gets
basically
his own spinoff?
He gets his own spinoff. Now, it's not going to be like obviously a year long or anything like that. It'll be like most of these are like a few episodes at most. But it sounds like this one's going to be like a prequel that shows like Punk Jack and his time working behind the scenes in the Desire Grand Prix, basically like before we met him in the show, which sounds awesome.
Before he became a weird jerk.
Well, I think he's
crazy
probably
punk rockin' ways.
Yeah, I think he's probably a weird jerk still, but it'll be a young Punk Jack. So I don't know if that'll correspond to like his return in the show or anything. Probably not, but we'll at least get a little bit more Punk Jack that you and I will for sure have to watch when that comes out.
Perfect.
And then the second show that got announced was one that had people very excited. I saw a lot of people really hyped about the show. Is Kamen Rider Tycoon, which is Keiwa, meets Kamen Rider Shinobi. So if you don't know Shinobi, I know we've talked about Shinobi a little bit before. He's one of the like really, really, really minor writers from years past. And Shinobi had a spin-off series, a little mini series, where again, he had like, a few episodes that came out on the fan club. So everyone loved the crap out of Shinobi. Everyone wanted Shinobi to become a main writer. It didn't happen. But now he is coming back for this new show. He's getting to meet Keiwa. And here, as Shade says, everyone went crazy about it. Funny enough, a bunch of people joked about Tycoon versus Shinobi on April Fools. And behold, it became true. The Shinobi copium is no more.
They wished him into existence.
Yeah, exactly. Shade says, on a serious note, though, the guy who plays Shinobi is really nice, and I'm glad he came back. He's also a dancer and is the one who choreographed Team Giamato's dance that we talked about just a second ago. So that's kind of cool. And then Shade recommends that in order to prepare for the show, you and I should watch the Shinobi miniseries because it's just 3 episodes and they're only 15 minutes apiece. So
That's not bad.
We could knock
we
those
could power
out.
through those.
Yeah, we could definitely power through those. And yeah, it'd be cool to watch in preparation for then the Tycoon meetup with Shinobi. The trailer looks pretty cool. Like they definitely give Keiwa like a Tycoon, like they give the Tycoon armor like a coloring to make it look like the Shinobi armor as well. Like he gets like a power up clearly from Shinobi. So they apparently are buds.
Cool. K1 needs a better bud.
Exactly. And that catches us all up on our emails and our Kamen Rider news, Toby.
We need like an official like dun, 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 news theme kind of thing. Like before and after, or like the breaking news, like do 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 noise, or more noises. We need more noises. Is really what I'm saying.
More noises is always better than less noises when it comes to a podcast. I think, yeah, that does check out. Yeah, we historically have not really had a news section on the show, but we could start recapping, the week's news in Kamen Riderdom, Tokusatsudom, I guess.
As long as you tell me where to look, because you go to these weird sites with like weird names, and I can't just be like floating around the internet like that. I'll find bad stuff probably.
We also, we wouldn't want you floating freely on the internet. That's just dangerous all around.
Yep, gotta keep me locked in.
We also
the child locks on the filter. We're good to go.
Exactly, completely locked down. We also thankfully have wonderful listeners who will tell us this news via email form as well. So if you want to be one of those wonderful listeners and sending us an email to talk about anything, really, you can send those emails to cast@kamenridersucks.com. Despite the name, we don't think Kamen Rider sucks. We like it quite a lot.
It's a funny joke. Made by me, owner of Toby Sucks and Kingdom Hearts Sucks.
Yeah.
And obviously I love Kingdom Hearts, and I as a person am okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think those 2 URLs are completely accurate, but the Kamen Rider one, that one's a joke. Toby, let's talk about Kamen Rider Geats episode 34, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. Episode 34 is I think transitional, we'll say. We had the whole like Buffa goes on a killing spree last episode, murders some huge number of riders. And then at the end of last episode, the end of episode 33, Ace returned. Sumi was basically praying that he would return. She had his ID core in her hand, and she seemingly wishes him back into existence. So we pick up from there in this episode. Ace pops up. Everyone's shocked. Ace points a gun at the game master and basically says, "Hey, I'm here for you. This is about my mom. You're holding her against her will, doing bad things to her. The DGP has to pay for that." So this is a crazy, crazy twist now. So we get an awesome fight, Toby, between Ace and the game master. I thought that this was like a really cool little showdown between these two.
It was a fun fight. Of all people, I don't know why he would. I don't know why the game master would think that he could take on Geats, but he tried. There were some moves in there. He did a couple things, but just a bad idea.
The game master, this guy specifically, is very full of himself. Like he always thinks that he's way more capable than he ends up being, and he's not incapable. Like he's pretty good. He's able to beat up like the average Kamen Rider, it seems like. But like if you remember, like he like marched straight up to like Baroba and thought he was going to take her down and got punked out. Like he just has a history of like way over evaluating his skill set.
Because he's probably a good producer, and he thinks those skills translate over into the riding world.
I think you're right.
But as we all know, it doesn't always work.
Not at all. I thought there was some really cool moments as like Ace like pins one of his balls to the ground. This sounds terrible. Pins one of his floating balls to the ground and like explodes it through it with a shot. Like that was really cool. But yeah, the game master essentially gets destroyed. Buffa kind of steps in and like takes over a little bit too in the fight. But in general, Ace is the one doing the fighting here. And the game master kind of explodes and he leaves behind his vision driver. However, someone comes and picks that vision driver up, and we'll find out who that is shortly.
He is a green screen mistake. That's who came to pick it up.
A green screen.
Because that's all I can see in the outfit. Like the way like he has like floating hands and like half his body is missing. You can see through him. But all it looks is like when people have like a green screen set up and like they're not thinking about what they wear and they like accidentally see through. That's all I could think of.
Are you talking about the guy who shows up next or the person who picked up the driver? Because our red hooded guy shows up next and he has no body. Like he is see-through.
Yeah. But like it just, for whatever reason, like it looks good, but it looks cheap.
Okay.
And like I just think it looks like he had like, I mean, obviously it probably has like a green Under Armour on, but it just seemed to me like it was like more like the accidental, hey, I didn't realize you'd be able to see this green phased out, like chromed out.
That's fair. No, there's a separate person though that picks up the Vision driver, which is, we find out later, is Kekura. Yeah, our hooded guy who shows up, I thought it was a weird choice that he didn't have a body, because like we'd seen him before and he does have a body, and like we see him later, I'm pretty sure he has a body, right? Like whenever he's like in the DGP world, he's got a body, but like he came to talk to Ace and Buffa, and he just was just see through for some reason, which is strange.
It makes sense, I guess. It checks out.
Anyway, we find out that he is the supposed creator of the Desire Grand Prix. Ace refers to him as the final boss. He says basically like, "Oh, I knew the final boss would show up eventually." Nonetheless, that guy starts the new game officially. So the Desire Royale is the current game, and this is fully a battle royale now. At this point, there's only one rule.
We finally did it.
Yep. Only one rule, where whoever is the last one standing can decide the fate of the world. So this scene, basically, we see a whole bunch of Kamen Riders get invited to be Kamen Riders and to participate in the Desire Royale.
And most people are back again. And it starts by, so I'm not going to call it an issue, but like, I feel like they just like keep cheating everybody back into the show, and more specifically, like back into the games.
Yeah, it's kind of like Survivor, where like they'll have like fan favorite Survivor cast members and characters and stuff, and then they figure out how to do like, we're doing Survivor All Stars so we can bring back Rudy because everyone loved Rudy, right? It's like that kind of. It's like,
yes, exactly.
It's the DGP All Stars. Friggin' Neon's back. Y'all love her, right?
All the people you just saw, still here.
I think that's part of the, I mean, like that doesn't bother me too much, because it's like you're just gonna run into that issue with the conceit of, we're gonna run multiple games over the course of this season, like. And we're gonna have main characters as well. Like, there's really no way around that. Like,
well, yeah, like I know why, but no, the way around it is to stop killing them all off.
Yeah, I mean, sure, like, but that's also like, we also complained about that too, where it's like, okay, so now another cheesy way for the game to not really end, so these people don't die. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like the fourth or fifth time now.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like, with this being the premise of the show, it's a little like, yeah, you were backed into a corner. I get it. It is a little funny. This thankfully I think will be the last time that it happens, is my guess, but it still is pretty funny. It's like, and we're back now. Okay, we're all good. And we're back.
Guys, we wrote this cool ending for this episode where like half the cast goes to literal hell and they turn into bubbles. And then someone else goes, oh shit, well, how are we gonna get him back on the show now? And everyone just like shrugs and goes, new Grand Prix.
Pretty much, yeah. At least to their credit, the people who did get dragged to hell had to come back in a special way a little bit. So like Ace had to get wished back into existence. And then of course we get to Keiwa. So let's talk about the whole saga here with Keiwa and his sister. So Keiwa's gone, has been missing. We kind of knew that. Kekura picked up the Vision driver in that opening scene, and he goes to visit Baroba. Basically, he wants Keiwa to come back. He wants to use Baroba's driver to kind of combine the two, so he can wish Keiwa back into existence. And he's got a proposition for Baroba. He wants to provide her with some like, prime cut human suffering, so she'll agree to his terms. We don't really know what he's promising her, but she calls him a naughty frog for what he's suggesting. So throughout this episode, we kind of basically find out Kekura appears to Sarah. He tells Sarah he can bring Keiwa back, essentially, but she has to join the Desire Grand Prix. So she chooses to. Keiwa appears back in her living room, and she kind of tells Kekara, like, don't talk to Keiwa, like don't talk when he's around. So she thinks he's just gonna like live this happy life. As soon as she's gone, Kekara shows Keiwa like, oh, your sister's fighting in this DGP. You should probably touch this thing and go join it and save her. So he manipulates them so where they're both now a member of the game.
I want to point out I called Sarah Ryder either last episode or the episode before.
You did.
After Keiwa got hell sent. And I said the only way to get this back is she becomes a rider instead. And now she did.
When I saw that that's the direction this was going and she was a writer, I was so excited that it was actually happening. But anyway, so like on that front, like Keiwa was one who got bubbled to hell, so we had to like do some shenanigans to get him back. Like they had to use both the vision drivers together and like wish him back into existence technically. So I at least appreciate that there's that continuity. It's not just like new game starting, Keiwa's back, he's alive, it's all good, even though that kind of is what's happening.
So with Sarah's costume, is she a skunk?
I don't know. I didn't get a real good look at her.
She looks almost like a cat, like Neon, but she has like a skunk stripe, and it's hard to tell what she was actually supposed to be.
Her henchin she's very much cat-like. Like she does like claws to the side, kind of like, yeah. So I took it as she's more of a like mini cat. Like if Neon is a cat, she's a kitten or something. but maybe she's a skunk.
That reads too. Here, I'm going to send you a nice little picture here. Like she has a pink nose, and I feel like she has skunk striping on her helmet. Yeah,
she might be a skunk then.
That seems mean.
It does seem
like
mean.
A nice girl.
I was so caught up with like her trying to figure her claws and stuff out that I wasn't even like paying close attention to her helmet. But it's not bad looking, whether it's a cat or a skunk. How did you feel, Toby, about Kekara and his manipulations?
I thought it was pretty good. It's the best way to do it. I kind of feel like he might be playing, what's her name? Baroba, just because it seems like he knows what gets her wound up and excited and happy. So it seemed like that's the best way for him to get his guy back in the race, if he like nudges her to help.
Yeah, and clearly he knew what to say to get her to join into the whole scheme. I'm not clear yet whether there's like more to it or because he tells Baruba at some point like, oh yeah, like I wanted them both in the game because you have to bring humans to their rock bottom basically to like build them back up. So he wanted that for Keiwa. I was like, well, true, but also that's really manipulative, and I feel like you like Keiwa.
Yeah,
I don't know. It felt a little bit too like person from the future detached for our friend Kekara. I thought he was nicer than that.
So Sarah is Kamen Rider Hakubi, but I can't get a good lock on what animal she is from this media.
Hakubi. So a Hakubi is a demon wolf.
She does not play as a demon or a wolf, but that's fine. We'll roll with it.
I'm on the wiki for some anime. So we'll see if any of that's true. Hakubi is also a rock band from Kyoto that was formed in 2017.
Maybe that's who she's dressed
like.
Yeah,
she's the rock band. Perfect. There's apparently a Japanese music fans Discord that we can join, Toby.
I'm going to send you in there to take care of that, and you just report back when you have some good information for me.
I'll be the emissary. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Toby, turns out people call it J-pop. Did you know that? I learned that when I joined the Discord.
Did you not know it was called J-pop?
I did. I was doing a bit. I was just doing a bit. I know it's called J-pop, everybody. I don't know why we don't call it like USAPop, like
But do they call it J-pop there? Or is it just pop?
They probably don't. But do they call stuff from like the United States like UPop or A-pop?
I don't know. We should ask them. We need one
We
of
should.
our ombudsmen to get on this and find out.
We really should. Yeah. Because I don't think they call their own. I think they probably just call it pop. Their own music is not J-pop, but like, yeah, I'm interested if they have a term for American pop music. Because there's a bunch of nerds that are way into it. There's a bunch of Japanese nerds who are like, "Oh, Taylor Swift, yeah, I like it, good stuff."
I feel their pain.
Oh, Taylor's version, yeah.
That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, apparently she's a wolf. Hopefully we get to see some of her wolf powers. Because right now, Toby, she is not she's not to their level. She hasn't quite learned how to common ride quite yet.
Yeah. So which goes back to one of our original questions. Does it give you the skill to be a rider when you transform? And she's a civet. We're good now.
She's a civet. What?
Yeah, like, do you know what a civet is?
Yeah. What made you think she's a civet?
The KamenRider.fandom.com.
Okay.
Hakubi's name originates from the Japanese name for the masked palm civet. So the nose and the skunk-like look, I guess, makes sense. And if you don't know, civet coffee is called like Kui Luau or Kui Lupak or something like that. And civet coffee is when the little civet weasel, rat, dog things, they eat the coffee cherries, Josh. They eat the fruit of the coffee.
Yeah.
And then their stomachs are very acidic and they break it down and then they poop out the delicious coffee beans. And we pay a lot of money for it here.
Well, kind of. Like it's their body doesn't process the coffee, so it brings it through mostly whole and intact. So we're like collecting the coffee that like went through the civet, which we then grind and make into coffee. Turns out civet coffee, it's incredibly expensive, mostly because it's just like a gross novelty. It doesn't actually make good coffee.
It tastes extra smooth. I tried it once because I was like, I want to see. So I did it with like a pour over and all the fancy stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, their whole thing is like it's supposed to take some of the acid out of the coffee, and it definitely does it. It's very like neutral and like almost creamy tasting, which is weird considering that it was came out as poop.
Went through poop, yeah. But also like the acidity in coffee is like kind of what you want. Like you want some degree of that too. Like acidity in coffee is like a desirable trait in certain quantities. Anywho, the other weird thing about civet coffee is it's really unethically sourced compared to most other coffee too, which is interesting to find out. So like in general, coffee now a lot of times is like you can trace an origin down through exactly like the farm that it came from, and everyone is like properly reimbursed for their time and their effort. And civet coffee is like very cruel to the civets, and sometimes like coffee's passed off as like civet coffee where it's not even civet coffee, it's just sort of like coffee that they're lying about.
Perfect. Like any good craft thing.
Yeah.
There's the dark side.
So yeah, there's a horrible dark side about civet coffee that is just makes me want to never interface with that as a concept ever again. But
Josh, look at the picture of the civet and you can see Sarah.
Yeah. The other thing is civets don't actually eat like they don't want to eat the coffee beans. So they're kind of like force fed it is my understanding. Like it's like not part of their normal diet really. But it's just like included with their food so that they'll eat it. Perfect. Anyway, yeah, it kind of looks like Sarah. You're right.
To wrap this all the way back around.
Sorry to go too deep on civet coffee, but
no, see, usually we do this in the beginning, and we went pretty quick through the normal bullshit in the beginning. So now everyone gets it late in the game. And they didn't see this
now
coming.
I get my 10 minutes about civet coffee. Perfect. Yeah, all right. Hopefully Sarah sticks around as a writer for a while. Like she definitely is an easy one to like take down early, as an easy target for like Daiichi or someone like that. But I hope that doesn't happen because I also don't want like horrible chip on his shoulder Kawa that soon either.
Well, that's what Frogman wants. He says you have to mess with Kawa's sister to get the aggression to come out.
He does. He wants that real bad. But I want to see Sarah like, come on her own a little bit and like become a Kamen Rider. I really like the scene where she meets up with Neon. It was very cool. She's like, "Oh my god, it's Neon!" And Neon's like, "Oh, it's Sarah. Cool." Which I
I
thought
know
was
you.
always
Let's do
funny.
this.
Exactly, because they know each other. And then I think at some point, Sarah's like, "Yeah, I always thought it was weird that Kawa was friends with you, and now it makes sense." It's like bringing it all back together. Speaking of bringing it all back together, Toby, at some point, Daiichi runs into Sarah and Neon here.
And as
And
always, fuck Pidgey.
yeah, God, this guy's the worst. Continues to get more and more worse. Basically, he pegs Sarah as Kawa's sister like very quickly because of her mannerisms and stuff. He says that he has payback basically for Kawa, so he starts fighting Sarah, and Kawa shows up to save the day, kind of like right at the last moment, right as Sarah's about to get taken out.
And fighting Sarah is kind of like an overstatement of what happens because Sarah is lost the whole time. Neon does her best to almost defend her, even though Sarah is a rider, and Sarah basically just gets like beat up enough to dehenshin, which you always know means trouble and all that good stuff.
And she's about to die. But then luckily Kawa shows up. He's the big protector. He's gonna protect his sister. And then we kind of loop Ace back into the story too. So the big, I guess, titular Ace scenes here is the first is Ace is talking to Sumi. And Ace and Sumi like basically talking about like why he came back and how he came back. And he calls her his sister. He's like, I don't know, it could have been anything. Could have been like a wish from my sister who wished me back into existence. So he's kind of got the number basically of like what Sumi is and how she plays into this, and he thinks that she's his actual sister. She's not so sure, but she definitely is like feeling remorse about her part in the Desire Grand Prix. She like is worried that she made people suffer and she hurt people as being the navigator. So Sumi is having a bit of an identity crisis right now, Toby.
For sure. I want to point out that also one of us, I think it was me, I'm not going to take credit though, we definitely said it's possible it's Sumi's his real sister, and one of our summaries run the other weeks. So we're like 2 for 2 on the big reveal so far.
Yeah, I thought for sure that was gonna be the case, and it looks like maybe we're heading towards that. There was a lot of talk about sister stuff this time, so we shall see. So that's kind of the first little interaction with Ace, and then Ace shows up, kind of at the end here. So after dispatching Daiichi a little bit from killing Sarah, Buffa shows up again, intent on eliminating some riders. And then Ace shows up to kind of save the day from Buffa. Ace protects them. And we get one of my favorite lines in all of Kamen Rider Geats so far, where Buffa's basically like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you protecting them? What's going on? And Ace is like, these are just the people I get soba with.
It brings the people together.
I loved that acknowledgement of the time they spent together in the soba restaurant and of their friendship. It was beautiful. But yeah, we kind of end the episode then. So we've got everybody together, right? We've got Neon and Ace and Kawa and Sarah, and they seemingly could work together. However,
until the end.
Yeah, until the end. However, we get a little discussion about like what are you in this for? Kind of like what's your wish? So earlier, Ace had told Sumi that his wish was to for his mother to be happy and free. So kind of to free his mother from the shackles of the DGP.
And so with that real quick, I kind of feel like if they established he couldn't wish for his mom with his old wishes, I feel like this is kind of on pace of like that should be one of those like instant wipe the card wishes, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. They definitely like they present the Desire Royale like they kind of say like, oh, the winner, gets to shape the world as whatever they want, and then they always follow it up with, and they get to decide whether the Desire Grand Prix exists or doesn't exist. It's like, okay, so that's what really we're fighting about, is whether the Desire Grand Prix exists. So I think like I think the thing is Ace wins, and then he just wishes that the DGP doesn't exist. Which he thinks like saves his mom, and she doesn't become entrapped then. And that is what he tells Keiwa and the rest of them, that his wish is for the Desire Grand Prix to be no more. However, Keiwa and Neon don't quite agree. Both of them were like, well, I don't know. I think the Desire Grand Prix should stick around. It's not all bad. Basically, their point is like they haven't been able to like achieve their wish yet, so they don't want it to end yet. Keiwa says there's still riders that are dead. He wants to bring them back, and Neon still wants to become invisible now, which is her thing.
Yeah, like, and that like at least Keiwa seems fair in the sense of like he's at least arguing like not for him, but his thing was like there's still dead people, so I'm not going to stop wishing for this because there's still dead people.
Yeah.
But early on, when Neon was like, I kind of like her wish was like I wish to disappear, basically, like for real, that no one knows me, and like that's pretty like she's going like way down the Kamen Rider depression hole.
She is, yeah. Her whole thing, she goes from like being a famous streamer and all this to now like, I would feel bad if I stopped streaming and the people didn't see me anymore. So I just wish that they just forget me entirely, and also the whole world just forgets me entirely. Yeah, she wants to just unwish herself. she's following the full circle of being a wish baby, I guess.
Perfect.
Yeah, because we had a scene in this episode where like Kian kind of like again tries to get her to go to the future, and she's just like, I really just want people to forget me, just like
you, my fake dad, everybody, just leave me the fuck alone.
Like obviously I don't want to be a Kurama anymore, but I don't want to be a Neon anymore, really. Which like there's way easier ways to end all that, but she's deciding that fighting is that. So I wasn't really I guess I wasn't super clear on like especially Keiwa's desire here, where it's like, well, if you win the Desire Royale, it seemed like you could wish like the DGP doesn't exist, but also everyone who died in it is back to life. Like it seems like you could wish for both, but he was acting like maybe you couldn't. Like he was acting like he needed the Desire Grand Prix to still be around in order for him to bring back those people. So I'm not super...
like maybe he has to like he's expecting to need a second wish. It almost sounds like he needs to do whatever this time, to win, to keep it, so that for like next round he can wish for the people to come back or something.
Yeah, it was a little strange and not super clear, at least to me. But that kind of clearly is creating like a splinter in their group, because Keiwa again talks about being mad at the goddess, and Ace again says like, my mom didn't do anything wrong, and I'll prove that to you. And
like Keiwa just flat out like hates Geats' mom at this point. Like if they ever meet, he's gonna be like, I fucking hate you, by the way.
I hate you, mom. You're not Ace's real mom. Keiwa is not giving that point up, and Ace of course is going to defend his mom, because it seems like she's mostly innocent in all this. I don't know, but
it is his mom. Like, to be fair, it is still his mom.
It is his mom, exactly. But I think that's gonna drive a little wedge between them, Toby, and I hate it.
It makes you sad.
Our good friends. It does. It makes me sad, because I just got the high point of these are the people I eat soba with, which was like, it was the big culmination of the slice of life anime that I want this to be. And then it was like, oh, but we're not going to be friends anymore. Not going to be friends anymore because your mom sucks.
I mean, that's like a real life problem though.
It is.
There are tons of people who are like, usually it's the parents hate the kids, and they're like, they're not going to be, you can't hang out with this person anymore. I don't like him. He's a bad seed.
True. But my daughter apparently at school read they read a book about being good seeds and bad seeds. So now she's obsessed with being a good seed. So if she's not behaving, you can just be like, are you being a good seed right now? And then she'll go hop up usually and do the thing.
So I'm glad she chose the right path. Because I could have read that book and been like, yo, bad seed, here we go. This sounds like fun.
She chooses bad seed a lot of times. She doesn't acknowledge that she's choosing the bad seed path. In her mind, everybody's the hero in their own story, Toby. in her mind.
I learned that from you many years ago. I always loved that saying.
In her mind, she's the good seed all the time. But yeah, not how it all works out.
And my favorite throwaway scene as we're wrapping up here, Baroba and Frog's statue are
Yeah,
just chilling in Kayla and Sarah's house, like on the couch together, like laughing
incredible.
and like drinking tea and having a good time, and just joking around about like watching the kids fight on TV. And that was like, I think that was my favorite scene of the whole thing, because it just seems surreal that like crazy Baroba is sitting with a frog statue.
It also like seems hilariously surreal that she's laying on the couch that like Sarah sits and like does her nails at all the time that we see. Like it's this goofy silly apartment that Sarah's just hanging out doing girl stuff in, and then it's just like the evil future 16-year-old is just laying on the couch all of a sudden. So strange.
Well, I
Like
always
just the
like,
idea that the two of them would cross paths is insane too.
it's just funny to me, and like I guess it's obviously an accepted thing, but it's weird that like the sponsors never really fight. Like I know Frog kind of made a deal with Baroba of like, hey, let's watch the kids suffer together.
Yeah.
But you would think that like they're all kind of against each other too. So it's just weird they're all chilling, just like, yep, we're just gonna watch this together. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some confrontation with like Gene and Baroba and stuff, but like even then, like there was a bit of a respect, between people who are from the future watching the show. Yeah, I think there's a detachedness to it, right? Like it's like, yeah, sure, like we are rooting for different characters in this TV show, but it's still just characters in a TV show, right? Like we picked out different waifus in our anime, but we can still watch it together. It's okay.
That
that's
seems fair. That's a
the
nice
vibe.
That's a nice bonding moment.
Yeah. But I love that this is where we have Baroba now too, of just like, well, she's not really like evil per se anymore. She's just chilling watching a TV show with people. Like she had this whole arc where she took over the DGP and she ran her own game, and now she's like, well, I'm gonna keep watching it, obviously.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool. Like
hilarious. Because also she has nothing to do. There's no more Giamato, right? Like this is all just Kamen Rider on Kamen Rider violence at this point.
yeah, it's really just like it's just a thing now. It's just like, hey, we're just gonna watch these idiots on television fight. Who really gives a shit? I guess
she's good because she's just in it for human suffering. So however she can get that, she's good with it. But all in all, to me, I think this was a pretty good. I'll say setup for like the rest of the season. Like I think this lays it out fairly clear of sort of directions we're going. I think it seems like at least that this is going to be a good chunk of the remainder of the show, kind of figuring out who stands tall on the Desire Royale and all that fun stuff. And I'm excited. Like I'm excited to go full battle royale. I'm excited we're not going to have to do like, the typical like rounds and Giamato come and defeat him and stuff like that. Like it feels way more like bloodthirsty and the stakes feel incredibly high, and that's pretty exciting going forward.
Well, I guess like in general, if they're gonna play this like a real battle royale game, like in theory, it should just be like the random times they meet up with each other, they just fight and try to kill each other.
I would think
like there really shouldn't be any wacky side stuff anymore.
Yeah, and the like see-through Red Hood guy was basically like, no, this is it. Go kill each other. Do it. And then at the end, you can tell me if I still exist or not. Let's go.
I'm gonna hope for the best, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap 34 for us here. Yeah, I'm excited about seeing more. So if you want to check out our past episodes, you can do that by going to KamenRiderSucks.com. Check out the video version of our show there, or you can just search for the Comment Riders on any of your podcasting platforms. You should be able to find us there. You can send us emails, cast@KamenRiderSucks.com. Again, thanks to Kieran and Shade for sending in those emails today. And Toby, you could join our Patreon. Yeah, Patreon for just a mere $3 per month to get the bonus content. We're giving you watch and react casting of Kamen Rider Black Sun, which is super fun. I feel like we're in the meat of that show right now. so you can catch up with us and watch those episodes. We also will give you once a month a Ramblecast where we talk about all manner of nonsense, and who knows what goes on those. I certainly don't, because Toby has something planned for the one we're about to record, and I have no idea what it is. So
it's going to be the greatest game ever played since the DGP itself.
So feel free to sign up for the Patreon and tune in and check that out, which will be going up soon. And you also get access to our Discord community. You can hang out with us and talk about all the new Punk Jack songs that come out and whatever you would like to your heart's content. So patreon.com/the Kamen Riders to go join that. We would love to have you. Toby, people can also keep up with us outside of Kamen Ridering. Where can people find you?
On Twitter, it's at Life of Tobes, and on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays.
Right on. Yeah, I am also on Twitter and also on Tumblr at PrettyDeeceJosh on both platforms. So again, that's going to do it for us for Kamen Rider Geats episode 34. We'll be back next time for episode 35. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electron.